Here today to talk about a problem that we've got not only in Richland County, but probably throughout the United States, and that's counterfeit merchandise. And a lot of people don't think that's such a big deal, but it is. It impacts a lot of different people, particularly all of us, because it drives up prices. When the legitimate merchants lose money because their products being sold as counterfeit, and it drives up prices, so we all pay for it. We seized over $200,000 worth of counterfeit merchandise last week at M&S Wholesale Clothing. We arrested Michael Bradley and his wife. Both of them were charged with possession with intent to distribute marijuana, but also trafficking in counterfeit merchandise. Our gang task force worked this case, have those individuals assigned to that task force stand up here now. And the first question you're going to ask is it gang related? There was some issues that were connected with gangs. That's why the gang task force got involved in it, and that's why they worked it. We're not going to discuss very much about that at this time, but there was a particular reason that the gang task force was assigned this case and why they worked it, and they worked it successfully. We worked with the Secretary of State's office. They provide their investigators, their personnel. They also help us out tremendously on identifying the counterfeit merchandise and make sure that it's not legitimate stuff. Blazer Investigations was also part of this investigation. They helped out in that the legitimate merchants hired them to go out and help local law enforcement to make sure that the right stuff is on the streets that's being sold in stores. When you think about counterfeit merchandise, a lot of times you think about flea markets, but it's just not at flea markets. It's not just sold on the road. Somebody stopped on the side of the road and putting stuff out. A lot of stores will get the counterfeit merchandise and they sell it. It is a huge problem. This is $200,000 worth of their equipment that is just not the right stuff. And unfortunately, some people buy it thinking it is real stuff. They think they're getting a good deal. And it's the same thing that always happens. If the deal sounds too good to be true, guess what? It's not going to be true. You're not going to go out here and buy a $300 pair of tennis shoes and pay $50 for them. That ought to tell you something's wrong with it. But again, we have a market for that. People out here thinking they're cutting corners and they're getting stuff that is legitimate, or they know they're getting fake stuff. So when you have a demand, you have a market for it. And unfortunately, we have a huge market for it. This was just one case here that we've worked. There's been others in the past, and there's going to be more in the future. But we're just cautioning people that this is not something that we're going to ignore. This is something that we're going to work. Secretary of State's office, private investigators going to work it, and your local law enforcement agencies. We're going to work cases like this because it's not right. These legitimate businesses and companies are losing money. They're getting ripped off, and they pass on that loss that they have that's passed on to us as consumers. So that's why we work these cases. They're very important cases. Questions?
What is the merchandise?
We got shoes.
Nike Air Jordans, Prada, Gucci, just to name a few. Just what else?
We had Ferragamo, we had Polo, a lot of Polo merchandise.
Jewelry, hats, belts, shoes, sunglasses, purses.
How long have
You women like to buy some of this fake stuff.
Yeah, what if someone's out looking for, what do you say to people who are actually out looking for counterfeit stuff because it is cheaper and it looks like the real thing?
But it's not. It's ripping off these legitimate people. It's ripping off people like Polo and Nike who, put their brand on something because there's something special to it, because the quality is good. But you have people who want to go out and pay $50 for some knockoff stuff, but that loss to that company gets passed on to us. So the consumers are the ones actually paying for this, and that's not right.